everyone, and welcome to another episode of WrestleCast, where I am joined by the mysterious Danny Martinez. I messed up the R. I can't see him. Where did he go? Oh
I am El
no.
Grande Americano Latino.
Oh, El Grande Americano Latino from the great state of the Gulf of America. Well, while I have you here, Mr. El Grande Americano, how did you like your match?
It was okay. It was a match. Yeah, it was okay.
Oh, come on! I thought you'd be more excited than that. It was a good match.
Yeah,
It was a
it just.
grande match.
I think Chad Cable deserves more.
Chad Gable, what are you
I
talking about?
mean, I
I
mean,
don't.
Grande. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. Grande
Yeah,
Americano.
he
Yeah,
didn't have a match. It was really sad because he talked about
yeah, yeah.
missing
He missed out on
WrestleMania this year,
WrestleMania. Hmm.
and it was heartbreaking. I will say that. I'm really sad about that. But kind of moving on, we'll get to that match, and we'll get more of what you have to say about being in the ring. This wasn't necessarily, this is your debut WrestleMania match, so congratulations to that. But we will get to that. But let's just kind of, let's just start right off the top there. What were your immediate thoughts on night one of WrestleMania?
Mediocre. Like it was
Ooh.
just like kind of like chill. It was leveled out. Like it was just like nothing special, except for the last match.
Ooh.
Like the last match was probably the only one I was pretty much looking forward to. But like throughout the
Mhm.
night, it was kind of just a very steady incline up, like upwards. Yeah. Um. Yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. Like I kind of just stood there and kind of just like, yep, this is a match.
It is a match that existed. So all of them were just matches that existed.
Yeah.
So then let's kind of get into one of the matches that existed for the World Heavyweight Championship. Jey Uso defeated Gunther. The reign of Gunther is over. All of Germany is sad. What were your thoughts? He's the youth
I
championship.
Oh God, people are gonna hate me for this, but I think the only reason why they gave it to Jay was because he is so it right now. He's got the chance, everybody loves the yeet thing. He's just over. He's over. And that's pretty much the only reason why. I don't think he's excellent in the ring. I don't think he's great on the
Oh,
mic. Except for working with the crowd and except for pumping up the crowd, but otherwise it's just all just again mediocre. It's all just the same. The only reason why they gave it to him is because he's over. He's doing good with merchandise sales. People love him. I'm not knocking that at all. I understand why people love him because he's charismatic. It works. But I was very surprised that they gave it to him because Gunther is a classic heel. He does an awesome job as a heel. He's excellent in the ring. I think he's kind of mediocre on the mic, but again, he's a classic heel, so it kind of like it works. Like he doesn't have to say too much. He does his talking in the ring. He does all his work in the ring. That's what works for him. And another reason why I was surprised was just because he just renewed his contract and they gave him a freaking tour bus, just like Cody Rhodes. So I was just like, oh, yeah, he's going to be champion for a while. And I guess that was just completely wrong. Me and you talked about that on Twitter before. And I was just like, I just don't agree with that. Either they're giving it back to him soon or they got something bigger planned for him because I don't understand how you can give a guy a tour bus and not still push him. So they're pushing him for something, I feel. But the match itself was just okay.
Yes. I here's the thing, and this kind of goes into the whole conversation that we had previously. It goes into two conversations. One is sports entertainment versus wrestling, and
Yeah.
then when is something no longer for us anymore because we're adults now. I feel that Jay is someone who falls into the category of entertainment and kids.
Yep.
And also, here's another thing. He's a really great escapism. When you're yeeting for 20 minutes not doing anything, cool. But in terms of advancing storylines, I feel that we can yeet just a little bit less.
Yeah.
I feel that they just have him out there as the hype man, to pump up the crowd. And then to give him a title was like, oh, okay, we're doing that. Okay. I mean, he's accomplished as much as he could in terms of being with his brother. I think, they did a really great job with the whole brother storyline, with them being tag champs, with the whole bloodline storyline before it went to garbage. It was a really great storyline. We had, what side is he on? Is he on this side? Is he on that side? We don't know the whole Sami Zayn situation of it all. And he was feeling Usi or not. So I understand kind of why they made him a heavyweight champion. There really isn't any place else for him to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it's going to be okay because I don't see this being a long run.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? This is something that makes the kids happy. It boosts up those t-shirt sales or merchandise. You got the glasses and the belt and the Yeet shirts. And there needs to be is there a wig? We need to have a Jey Uso wig.
It also sets the
Halloween
tone for
the
the entire pay-per-view as well. So like having this guy
right.
win, yeah,
And
it sets
it's
the tone.
happy and it's uplifting. You don't want to be like, oh my gosh. I mean, you would have it'll book in with like one disappointment, and then depending on which side he was rooting for when it came to that triple threat match with Paul Heyman, send everyone home miserable. But yeah, I thought it was the best decision. Gunther will be fine. He will be perfectly fine. And plus, who knows? This could give him like a little break for a minute. And then he's feuding again anyway. So he's going to be all right, I feel. I
With
think
Pat McAfee?
No, see, everybody's like, oh, it's for a match. No, that was just to get him away so he can go do his college thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because they announced it regular last year. I remember Michael Cole was a mess, slobbering and crying all over the place. I miss my best friend. I'm going to miss you. And now he's out. And then, who knows, maybe they have forgiven Corey Graves at this point. So they give him his job back, right? And they can make this an angle thing. And like, Michael Cole is just upset. Why are you here? My friend belongs here. And then Corey Graves can like play that heel character. He got choked out because he can't wrestle. Maybe something like that. I don't know. But I didn't have a problem with Gunther. I can't say Gunther. I have to say Gunther. Anyway, I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with them taking him out because, it gave Gunther something to do. And would you like a match with them?
With who? With Gunther?
Pat McAfee?
Oh, Pat?
Yeah,
No.
Gunther and Pat McAfee.
Stay in your lane. Like you're a great commentator, you're a great sports analyst and all this stuff. Like, but just stay in your lane. Yeah, I can't stand celebrity matches at all, like in any sense, even if they are entertaining. Like I think it's just a cop out. It's just a cop out for marketing. It's just because I mean, so my opinion on Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny was actually freaking amazing wrestler, and that was a big shock to me during that pay-per-view. But the only reason why Bad Bunny was there was because they were in Puerto Rico. It makes sense. Like it's the only reason why he was there in the first place. And it's just a whole marketing thing and to pander to wherever it is that you're at or whatever. So I don't agree with it at all.
Well, we'll get to Bad Bunny because there is a rumor going around. We don't know. It's a rumor.
Yeah.
But we could get Bad Bunny back. And then you have Travis Scott. Yay. We'll get to that too because there could be some team up there. Okay. So then moving on to our second belt change of the night. World Tag Championship match. The New Day, minus Big E, versus the War Raiders, who I always thought they looked like the Forgotten Sons. Right now, it was they won their belt.
War Raiders are a bit bigger. Actually, I think way bigger than Forgotten Sons. Right? I can't remember what they look like.
But it's just the aestheticals is giving me the Forgotten Son. They grew out their beard long. I guess if you got that trucker look and then you grow out your beard, you're the Forgotten Sons. And plus, I've forgotten about them anyway. I was like, they have belts. They're forgotten. There you go. Forgotten Sons Junior or something. Sons and Sons. What was your thought in this match that I really cannot remember?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Actually, it was a forgetful match. I think, okay, I have to put this out there. And this is a whole rant altogether, so I'm going to try to condense it as much as possible. But night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania was just a huge commercial fest, and just a lot of ads
Oh.
and a lot of crap, a lot of ad crap. And one of the things that stood out to me was when the War Raiders came out. They come out with some badass gear sometimes. They come out with some nice stuff, and with their, the whole theme of the Viking stuff, and just like,
Mhm.
yeah, but they came out with this gross ass 3D printed looking crap that looked like it wasn't even painted. It looked like some bad cosplay you bought off of Amazon. No joke. And it was because they were promoting the Doom game. So they wanted to wear, oh, sorry, not the Doom game, the Clash of Clans game. The Doom game was with
Mm.
Drew McIntyre. We'll touch on that at some point. But they had the Clash of Clans gear on, and it pissed me off so much that they would put this stuff on these guys rather than have them wear something that they wanted to do with a cool intro. Granted, they lost, but it's just this whole it was so clear that they were going this cheap route just to put an ad before the match started. So that pissed me off. And then the New Day came out. They had cool gear. I like their gear. Their gear is always really cool, especially for WrestleMania. And I expected the New Day to win because they didn't do anything with the War Raiders for the longest time, which they never do anything with them. I feel bad. They're good tag team champion. They're good tag team group, but they don't do much with them. Let's be honest. And the New Day's got the charisma. They got the whole package, and plus now they're heels. So I expected them to win because they're gonna get that push as the heel tag team now. So rant aside, the match itself was forgetful. It was predictable. There wasn't much going on. It was just heels being heels and face being face, or whatever you want to call the War Raiders. But yeah, not a great match.
I was disappointed because the one way we could spice this up is to have Big E. Big E wasn't involved at
They
all.
still don't do anything with them.
There was
Yeah.
no mention of Big E. You made them heels. Which again, if you really look at it, if we have been failing at a successful heel run, except for like Naomi. But all these heel runs have been terrible. I didn't like you. They made this huge thing where they finally turned them heel. You had the Big E situation. Oh, you abandoned me. And the guy's like, I broke my neck. What are you talking about? It was stupid to begin with. But the point is, they could have at least tried. And once it came WrestleMania, they just completely abandoned that. And so it's just, oh, now we're the champs again. Okay. There was no feeling behind it. It wasn't
Yeah.
like something that made me, and even if Big E, I understand you may not be able to suplex him or do something, but you can have some kind of involvement with him in the match. And he didn't have that at all. It was just a regular old match. And it was kind of, you stated it. For me, it was boring. It was very forgettable. And it was very disappointing because even how they came out, it was like they looked really cool. But remember when they came out before the last time and they had the big Bootio cereal and it was a big spectacle? Or even remember when they had the ladder match and that's when Matt and Jeff Hardy was a surprise entrance. And they,
Yeah.
oh no, they were the host. They played the host that time. But you just, in general, they have these really larger than life personalities. We didn't even get to see any of that. We didn't get to see a big presentation like that when it came to them. I think Tiffany Stratton had a better presentation as a Barbie doll than the Bootios. So it was slightly disappointing for me. So then kind of moving on to the third belt change of the night. There was a lot of belt changing,
At
which
least
is
for the
cool
first
because,
night. Yeah.
WrestleMania. We have for the United States Championship, my favorite wrestler, Jacob Fatu, versus LA Knight. He won. He is now the new United States champion. I think this is one of the few wrestlers who I say you deserve it. He's unpredictable. He has the personality. He can actually wrestle. He scares me, but we all know he's like a softie, but
Yeah.
he terrifies me. And he gives me the spirit of Eddie Kingston if Eddie was able to not be injured every 5 seconds. What are your thoughts?
I more got the shoot, what was his name? Oh my god. They're related to him. The one who bit off an ear or a nose, the wrestler.
Evander Holyfield?
No. Wrestler, who bit off
It was a wrestler that bit off someone's
rumor that bit
nose.
off someone's nose. Or not
What?
bit off someone's nose, bit someone's nose. Sorry.
Nobody.
He's a Samoan wrestler. Wow.
Is he related to The Rock? It's not
He's
Samoa
related.
Joe.
They're all related to everyone. No, he's
They're
an old
all
school
related.
wrestler. He had
Yokozuna.
no,
Umaga.
no, close though. Keep going.
Rikishi?
No.
I'm trying to go through the tree. It's not Jay and it's not the Usos.
People like scared of him. No, he's old school. Is old school. Nothing new. He doesn't wrestle anymore. At least I don't think he wrestles anymore. He was at WrestleMania, and he
was he the dad?
No. What's his name's dad is Umaga, isn't it?
Yeah. Then it was High Chief Maivia. He's probably dead.
You know what?
I don't know.
Never mind. Yeah, we'll waste a lot of time with this. But he reminds me of somebody else. But I can see what the parallels are with Jacob Fatu and who you said it was before. But
well, I said Eddie Kingston. Man,
Eddie
like
Kingston.
a Puerto Rican.
Yeah, I know. But I was thinking more of one of his relatives that I get the vibe of, but I just couldn't remember the name. But so here's the thing. I agree 100% everything you said with Jacob Fatu. I think he's the whole package. And he's doing really, really good on the mic, which is surprising because I didn't think like he's such an intense wrestler that I thought that was going to be his main focus. And I didn't think he would be good on the mic, but he's actually he's fairly good. And he plays as himself. He's pretty much himself on the mic. He doesn't try to be somebody he's not. So he's like a bit ghetto, a bit street, which I love. And it kind of like relates ghetto in a good way, not in the sense that like it's like gross and nasty stuff, but like he's a street guy. He's from the streets. Like he talks like he's from the streets. So like I appreciate that he doesn't talk with like a freaking Jamaican accent like Kofi Kingston did for the beginning of his career. Like he doesn't have some stupid gimmick where he's trying to be something that he's not, which that's what I like about him. What I worry about is that he's moving up way too fast. I think they pushed him way too fast, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like if you see potential, maybe they see something and they want to push him because he's doing so well. But like I worry sometimes. I think it's just me being cautiously optimistic because I know the track record with WWE sometimes is that they'll tend to push people and then they forget them afterwards. Like it's like that peak and then all of a sudden they just drop down and they just see a new toy and then they kind of move on with that and then Jacob is kind of just left in the wind. So like I hope they take their time with Jacob and they build them up more and more. So this is a good step for him. But you see, this is exactly what's happening with LA Knight, because LA Knight straight to the moon. They pushed him, and he's old. He's in his 40s, and so he's like the DDP of this generation right now. He's in an age where he shouldn't be wrestling, but he is, and he's doing very well. So he started wrestling late. Like you don't start wrestling at 40 years old. But he's doing that right now.
He's older than DDP. Because DDP was 35.
DDP was, well, he's 40 now. So how long the LA Knight has been wrestling at this point? It's been, what, 3, 4, 5 years? So more or less same age as DDP. Years. Yeah. So pretty much the same age as DDP.
Had the other run, the NWA run. It was way more than that.
I don't know what you mean.
He was an NWA.
Yeah.
That was years and years. That was more than 5 years.
But he's past his prime. But he's still skyrocketing right now when it comes to like
not
being pushed. It's not fair. I'm not saying it is, but this is reality. When you're past a certain age in wrestling, you're not looked at the same way as a 20-something-year-old who's up and coming.
Rey Mysterio's like 62.
Yes, but he's been with WWE for like 60 years.
Yeah.
He's already got the reputation. Dominic Mysterio wouldn't be in this company right now if it wasn't for Rey. Like Ray literally said in my contract, I need to wrestle with my son. You're going to take care of my son. He's going to be put a contract, and I'm going to wrestle with my son. He has a lot of pull with this company. Rey Mysterio can do whatever the hell he wants. LA Knight is some guy at this point. But my point is that he's past his prime. So he's looked at differently from the rest. That I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm saying that's the reality of it. And they get looked at like that very often. So I worry about LA Knight because he was so great on the mic and he was great with the people, but now he's being forgotten yet again because first he was getting pushed a lot and then he got overshadowed when The Rock came out and the Cody Reigns thing started happening and he got overshadowed with that. So now he finally got the belt back. I think it was from Shinsuke. I think Shinsuke was the one that had it, and then LA Knight took it back. So now he has the belt, and I'm like, yes, all right, they're gonna push him back. They got him focused on something. He's got a championship belt. He's gonna do some more things, and it's gone. It's because now Jacob Fatu is the next big thing, and I worry that the same thing is going to happen again. That was my whole point with that, is that it's the new shiny toy. And I worry. So aside from that, the match itself was really good. They're both really good at working in the crowd. That intensity that Fatu has and that athleticism, I don't know where the hell he gets that stuff from as being as big of a guy as he is, but he is freaking awesome, man. I hope he's a little bit more careful too, because he's a big guy and he can't do that stuff forever. He needs to like pick and choose where he could do that stuff, especially during the pay-per-views. He can kind of like do some more of the crazy moves, and aside from that, he can just focus on being like a powerhouse rather than a high flyer, in a sense, the high fly moves. But yeah, the match was fairly good because of Fatu.
So yeah, my question is this: do you feel that LA Knight would have gotten a bigger push had his gimmick been different? Because his gimmick reminds me of everyone else's gimmick. It's The Rock and Stone Cold.
Yeah, agreed.
You can throw in a little Bret Hart in there, but it's definitely Rock and Stone Cold. So it's like, we already have a Rock and Stone Cold. Who are you as this version of LA Knight that's not everyone else?
If he had another gimmick, I guess it depends on what the gimmick is, because everybody had a lot of gimmicks back then that sometimes they know how to work with it and sometimes they don't. I mean, look at Cody Rhodes and Stardust. Like, you work with what you got, but sometimes it works for the crowd and sometimes it doesn't. So it's really hard to say. I think he's charismatic as he is now, and it works for him, regardless if it's like, it could be, I agree, it's a copycat of a Stone Cold Rock type of amalgamation thing, but it works for him, and I think it should continue working for him. I don't think it should change anything. So it's hard for me to answer that question.
Okay. So then, kind of, I guess, moving on from that, we have the your match, which is, the match that stole all matches. It united nations. Mexico and America came together. The Gulf of American Mexico. What are your thoughts on El Grande Americano versus Rey Fénix? It originally was supposed to be Rey Mysterio, but he got injured. They was going to bring back the trampoline where he shoots out from the sky.
Yeah, I would have loved that.
I would have loved that too, but we got another Rey. So it was his WrestleMania debut match, Rey Fénix. Which, that now, if you want to talk about somebody getting pushed really quickly, come on now. Rey Fénix?
Ray? I mean, I don't think that's a Penta, yes, we could talk about Penta, but Ray, I don't think that's a push. I think that's just
opportunity.
It's an opportunity that presented itself. Like, Rey Mysterio got hurt. They needed another luchador. It just so happened Fénix is now there and new, and it's a good opportunity to expose him and see what he can do, especially with a more established character like Chad Gable, and and see where it goes from there. So that was an opportunity. I don't think that was a push.
Okay.
The match itself was a lot of fun. It's always nice to have a luchador match every now and then to kind of break the whole like powerhouse, monotony and stuff. So the high flying moves and the spots were really nice. Grande, he's actually, he looks like he's having a lot of fun with the character, especially at the heel with the whole headbutt, the whole steel thing and all that. That always looks funny to me. I think the match was fun. I don't think it's like a 5-star, great technical match, but it was definitely a lot of fun to watch. With Penta, I know we'll talk about the Penta match at some point. Penta is a different story. Penta is in that same situation as I worry about with Fatu and LA Knight, is that you push him too hard and then kind of, and the track record what the WWE also has with wrestlers where English isn't their second language, is that they'll push them and push them and push them for a little bit, and then they're just like, oh, your English is not good enough, so bye, because you can't talk to the crowd like we want you to, and then they just get pushed away and then you never see them again. So I worry about that.
MLW should be interesting. You're gonna push an entire organization away.
Yeah.
Woo. I thought exactly the same thing as you. It was a really fun match. I wish Chad Gable could have watched it. Could have saw it.
Wait, he didn't at least see it? He just didn't even watch it either?
He didn't really see it. He was, backstage catering. He had some good food, though. He was right there. But
Chad Gable should at least be supporting El Grande. I mean, he wears American Made on his freaking mask. Come on.
But I think he's jealous at this point that he's getting the push and not him. Here you got some new guy just randomly coming in, gets a really great package. They gave him a really great package with this one, a big introduction, really nice, and he's just forgotten. And he's been with the company longer.
His music is hilarious.
I know that people are upset about the gimmick. I'm sorry, it did make me chuckle.
It's funny. And
you have the right. You can say whether or not it's terrible or not.
I'm a Latino. It's funny. Like, stop it. If he starts talking about, there's a threshold between like what's funny and then what's too much, and like that's not even close to the border. Pun intended. not even close to the borderline. Like, come on. It's fun. Like, it just stop it. Like, if the Latino community, the Mexican community comes out and says they're offended by it, then by all means go ahead and support them. But how many Latinos have told you that they're offended by this? Stop it.
Not me for me to say. But I will say I enjoyed the match. So then, kind of moving on, we have another championship match that didn't change hands. This, to me, was the shocking one of all. It was Tiffany Stratton, who is the WWE Women's Champion, versus Charlotte Flair. This entire thing, I think the build-up to this match has been more talked about than the match itself. I love the presentation. We had Flair came out in, I think, a Mustang or one of them cars. I know nothing about cars. But she came out in a car. Tiffany Stratton did the whole Barbie girl thing, which I thought would have been even better. Remember Eminem?
Yeah.
Remember when he did the MTV Music Awards and it was all a bunch of little stands?
80s? Oh, the stands? Yeah.
All the stands were dressed as him. What happened if we had an assembly line of blonde-headed little white girls or white women, and they're all looking like Tiffany Stratton? Or even girls? That would have been so sweet. And they all coming out and, like, I don't know, do some Barbie poses or something, and they march to the ring. That would have been really nice.
Yeah.
I would have loved it. But, I was kind of really surprised at kind of like how meh Charlotte Flair's entrance was. Because remember, one WrestleMania, one of the matches, she came out in a helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, oh, this is going to be crazy. We're in LA. It's going to be, I don't know, a magic show or something. No, she just had a car and came in. This match was okay. I genuinely thought Charlotte Flair was going to win just because of how everything had gone in her track record. And who's to say that she wasn't scheduled to win? But then she was like, I'm getting so much negative press. I'll
Oh
lose.
no, don't give her that credit. Do not give her that credit.
What? Okay, Becky Lynch. So I was really shocked, but there was some moments where there were some botches that were going on that I didn't. I was like, is this a botch or is she doing this intentional?
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany's still green. Tiffany is still green. So don't know how I feel about that. But overall, I'm very surprised by the outcome. I appreciate the outcome because I think the people would have booed if Charlotte won.
You know what I
They'd have,
miss?
booed.
I mean, this will never happen again. This will never happen because people are soft and they'll WWE press charges anyways. But I miss days where, like, if you were pissed off about something, like truly pissed off about a decision in the ring back in the 80s and 90s, you would throw shit in the ring. Like, I would have thrown my freaking soda if Charlotte Flair won that match and make sure it hits her on her freaking head. But then I'd probably get arrested for it and catch a case and all that crap. Like yeah, like that's how much I feel about. Sorry to cut you off, Willis, but that's how much I feel about Charlotte Flair. Like she's talented, and I don't deny that at all. I hate her. Hate is a strong word, but like I dislike her as a person because of how much she takes advantage of her position in that company to either steal the limelight or stay in the limelight of that company because of her name. And as much as she'll deny it, it's the truth. Her name is a big deal, not just because of her father, but because now she's established herself as a big thing in that company, and she will take advantage of it as much as possible. So I expected her to win this match as well.
Do you feel that all the criticism that she's been facing has been justified?
Criticism of what? In general, the business side of things or personal?
From not just the business side of things, but how she came in and kind of just interrupted everything. She didn't start from, like, say, the bottom and work her way up. Mm-hmm. She was just there.
She won the Royal Rumble on her debut.
She won the Royal Rumble during her return from after a year. They felt like she was just given a champion. This is why I'm really shocked she didn't win, but she was just given this match. The whole buildup has been a mess. Her botching, and you could say the crowd got to her or whatever, but she really did kind of botch this whole, I think, feud. You can either say she botched it or she fed into it, but she was definitely shaken by it. Because we saw that when she tried to do the whole monologue about, Tiffany Stratton. And remember, that's when Tiffany was like, and you're 3 for 0 or 0 for 3. However it goes. Yeah. And she was like, well, whatever. You had the last word. So do you feel that it was all fair? Are people just being too hard on her?
No, they're not, because it was very clear. And this is not the first time. If this was the first time she'd done something like this, it would be fair to say that, like, they're going a bit overboard with the criticism. But this is a thing that Charlotte has done before. She has gone into business for herself before, whether it be on the mic, whether it be her influence to try to win something. Like, it has been done before, and there are female wrestlers backstage that can attest to that. There have been reports of that, and then we've also seen that firsthand as well as viewers. So no, like, the criticism is all fair and it's all valid, because we know what she's like, at least business side of things. Like her, yes, I agree. The personal stuff, it was fucking hilarious to hear that personal stuff get out, like all that dirty laundry get out when Tiffany and her were in the ring again, and they both went to business for themselves off script. That was hilarious, but also very unprofessional. Like, to put her personal stuff out there was oof. Like, I would have, if I was Charlotte, I would have cried in front of millions and millions of people at that point. Not fair, not right. Her personal stuff, her personal issues are her issues alone, and it shouldn't be out there to put out for the public, even though people know what's going on. Still shouldn't have. But when it comes to the business side of things, don't like her. I think she's unprofessional. I think she doesn't deserve all the stuff that she gets because she uses her name as leverage and stuff, and she needs to work for it more. Just because you work out and and you're good in the ring doesn't mean that you don't start over. You should have to start over. At least a very little bit, like at least get a freaking. Now we have the U.S. championships for women now, and what is Intercontinental, all that stuff. Get one of those belts. That should have been your first thought in the first place. Not go straight to the World Championship belt. Not win the Royal Rumble immediately, and now all of a sudden you have a WrestleMania main event or WrestleMania match. That should not have been the first thought.
So then, do you feel that John Cena should get the same criticism as well? Because he just came back and was like, he didn't win. He gave a press conference like, I'm still getting in there. So then he was like, I'm sorry. And then, 17.
It's slightly different. If this was a different situation where it was just him showing up because he wanted to wrestle and he uses his name to become main event or get the belt and everything, yes, we could make that argument. But I think part of the storytelling is just the fact that this is his last year, hopefully. A lot of wrestlers say they're going to retire and they never do. But he also mentions this. He mentions this also. Wrestlers say that all the time, and it usually means nothing because they always end up coming back for one more match. But he says he means it. This is his last year in wrestling, and he wants to take advantage of it as much as possible. So I feel like we can kind of cut some slack when it comes to it, this kind of direction. But at the same time, he has to be careful not to overshadow other things that are going on, which I think at this point he's not. I don't think he really is.
He did say he wants to ruin wrestling.
But that's part of the story and the character. He's a heel now. So he wants to ruin wrestling. And here's the thing too, because I know we'll touch on that when we talk about his match, but here's the thing also is a lot of people are pissed off at the finish of that match, I myself included. And his excuse is that, well, I told you I was going to ruin wrestling. I told you that, I don't care what you guys think and you guys aren't going to get what you want. So this is why things are going down the way they are. I think that's a bullshit excuse, but that still fits the character. That still fits the narrative, so it makes sense.
Okay, you say so. We'll get back to that. We'll have a lot more to say to that when we get to that match because Travis Scott. All right, last match of the night is the triple threat match. It is Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for custody of Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman on a pole match?
Paul Heyman on a pole match. I know Vince Russo was like, you stole my idea. He was just dangling the whole time.
I love this. The whole thing from beginning to end. I love this match. Because before even Paul Heyman was even involved, the intros were great. Freaking Roman Reigns was emotional because he's walking down the ramp and you can see his entire family in the monitors below him, and it's coming down slowly, and you just see his entire his bloodline. That was an awesome imagery to see. Cody Rhodes, very big and flashy and stuff. It was okay. As his intros usually are. Huh?
Adrenaline was not in your soul?
I mean, I love his intros. I sing his song every time he comes out. I love his music and I love his intros, but it wasn't different and special. It was more of the same. He came in with a freaking 3D printed mask, but then it did the Iron Man. It did the Iron Man thing, which was pretty cool. But that was pretty much it. Cody Rhodes' intro was okay, but it was flashy as usual. And then we had, I think CM Punk was just as emotional because he came out with his intro music, but with the actual band singing live. He came out with his hoodie. It was a dirty, nasty ass looking hoodie. It looked like he just grabbed it out of his attic. It's been there for the past 15 years. But it meant something to him, that sweater. And then he came out, he had fun with the band. Paul Heyman came out, had fun with the band. They took a selfie together too, which was pretty fun. And And then it's clobbering time. The whole, he gets on his one knee and he yells it out, and Paul Heyman has to show him his watch and stuff. And he's like, yeah, it's clobbering time. And the crowd goes nuts with that. That was emotional and nostalgic. And so all just from beginning to end. And then the match itself, there was a lot of intensity, a lot of good spots. What I also liked is that, you know, we're used to watching wrestling matches, especially three ways, and a lot of the time the habit is two wrestlers will wrestle and the other one kind of goes away and rests for a little bit, and then someone will alternate, and then it's two against it's that is still two, one versus one, and then the other one kind of rests for a little bit. But this one felt like it was a good mix. Like in the beginning, it was 1-on-1, and I think Roman kind of stayed back for a little bit for like the first 10 minutes maybe. But then like the rest of the match was really, it was really a roundabout. It was really a three-way match, and that's what I loved about it. That the how do you say, the momentum kept going. It didn't really die down, and that's what I liked about it also. And then I know we'll touch on the twist in the end that I had an inkling about, but I didn't think it would happen. Freaking Heyman. My wife, I told my wife about it, and again, she's not a wrestling fan. I told her, there's going to be a moment, I guarantee you there's going to be a moment where Paul Heyman is going to be looking at CM Punk and Roman Reigns, and he's going to have to make his decision at that point. Who is he going to side with? And I told my wife that, and she was like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I get it. I understand why. I told her like the history of both of them and Paul Heyman, how close he is to both of them and all that stuff. And I was like, who's he going to choose? And in my head, I was like, I think this whole thing was to screw CM Punk. So I think they're going to continue a CM Punk Roman Reigns feud. So you see Paul Heyman give the chair, a steel chair to CM Punk. You could already see him positioning himself, gives him that low blow, and then he gives the steel chair to Roman Reigns. And I was just like, okay, this is where we're going. He's siding with Roman Reigns, and I guess we're gonna continue this on. And then freaking Paul Heyman is such a good actor. He's like, he points to Rollins. He's like, look, my tribal chief, look, payback for the shield. And what happened with the shield? You can hit him now. Hit him with the chair, my tribal chief. He's all yours. And then Heyman positions himself behind Roman Reigns and another low blow. And this low blow looked like it was personal because he was like literally digging in there and grinding himself in there. And he low blowed Roman Reigns, and he's with Rollins. I guess Rollins is a Heyman guy now. And we could talk about what happened in Raw, but maybe later. But now we got another Heyman guy as well on top of that.
He's not. See, this is where I think he's not a Heyman guy.
No?
I think this was the entire. Remember the scene in Aladdin with the very ending when Aladdin has that one wish, and instead he's like, "I set you free," and Genie's like, "Excuse me," and then the shackles come off. I think that's what Seth Rollins is to Paul Heyman. If you looked at Paul Heyman, yes, Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns were both very close, but it always felt like a groveling type of situation.
Yeah.
Right? It was like a serviceman. Oh, you're my wise man. But you do this for me. And you know how many times in the ring that the guy he's been choked out, stepped on, stomped out, speared, all because of whomever he aligns himself with or even by them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like Seth Rollins is going to allow Paul Heyman to just do whatever he wants. You're not necessarily aligned to me. You did this favor for me, but it doesn't mean that you're a Seth Rollins guy. I don't want you groveling and, cleaning my boots.
My question to you about that theory is that where did you get that idea from? Like, is there something they said or did?
No, I just felt that out of both of them, Seth Rollins never needed Paul Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
It was always, I got my wise man in my corner. I got my wise man,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he needs him. And I think as Paul Heyman, for him, it just seems like he doesn't have to be needed all the time. They're like children, if you really look at them, where they need him. Seth is his own kind of person. It gives off to me that he doesn't have that relationship with them. He doesn't have that bond. They had years of being with Paul Heyman, and they got screwed because of each other by Paul Heyman. Look at Seth Rollins. He's the screwer. He screwed over everybody else. And that's where I feel that they better align. And they know that they can't trust each other.
I like the idea, but then why bring Braun Breaker into it afterwards?
Braun Breaker doesn't need him either. Braun Breaker is another replacement of Brock Lesnar. But he doesn't need him. Braun Breaker is so much on his own, he doesn't need anybody. I feel that when you...
I think the opposite. I think it's Heyman who's now officially in charge. And I think he's putting together a team of people, so now we got Rollins and Braun, and I think he's trying to dominate the situation. I think he's trying to be the boss. Because I don't see why you would help one person. I don't see why you would help one person and then all of a sudden now you're adding more to the team, unless you're trying to have that power dynamic. You're trying to be the boss. You're trying to control these wrestlers so they could do your bidding. They could do whatever it is that you want because you're right. With Brock Lesnar, with Reigns, even with Punk to an extent, back then, Heyman has been the lackey. He's been the wise man, the servant, the one that but maybe he's been a puppet master this whole time. Maybe he's the one that now he's calling the shots and he's trying to put together something to be more dominant.
So it's evolution.
Yeah.
2.0.
Yeah, maybe.
So then who else joins the team?
Well, I mean, you had the past, present, and future for when it comes to evolution. So like Braun would probably be the future. You'd have to do the past because Seth Rollins is the present. So you'd have to bring in a legend, maybe. Some sort of legend.
Or a legend killer?
I guess. But he's yeah, maybe.
Or Cena.
Maybe.
He represents the past because he's on his way out. He's past.
Actually, that makes sense too. Actually, even that as well.
Ooh, now this is getting juicy. Wait, do we have a woman in it?
I couldn't think of anybody. Everybody, honestly, the women will probably do better by themselves.
Charlotte.
I don't think Charlotte definitely doesn't need a stable to be who she is.
That is true.
I don't think there's anyone that really needs a stable.
I was gonna say Nia. It's so unfair how they just disregarded Nia, despite the fact she has a belt. She wasn't in WrestleMania.
I'm sorry, you know how I feel about Nia. We're not talking about her. I'm gonna bash her.
What? Okay. Fine, no problem. You're a woman basher. All right then. No women.
Okay. Wait, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the match, the triple threat?
Of which match?
The triple threat.
The match we're talking about. No, I thought it was good because this is what we got with storytelling. Which remember, according to The Rock, it's all fake. This is not real. Okay, this is scripted, by the way. But this is what you have when you have really good storytelling. Because remember, the whole thing is, what is this favor that you asked for? I didn't like the fact that how they executed it, how they brought it up initially. Because remember, it was CM Punk and Roman who both had that favor. And because they have that kind of history. And then because Seth Rollins didn't curb stomp Paul Heyman that other time, I think it was on SmackDown, Raw, one of the shows. He didn't curb stomp him, and then he was like, "Oh, now you owe me a favor," and it just felt so thrown together. So I didn't like that kind of execution part of it, but now it just all really makes sense because the favor is be on my side, and this is what we don't know what the offer is. So we can all speculate, it's freedom, it's a faction, it's something, but he didn't give his monologue yet. So we don't know. but it looks like that way if we use common sense, and The Rock's not involved, so common sense will prevail. I feel that this was really good, and I look forward to what happens, because even if you look at the whole thing, CM Punk was desperate. Roman Reigns as well, I feel there was always this sense of desperation, and I think because they were so focused on each other and what Paul Heyman is going to do in regards to each other, Seth Rollins was in a way kind of that throwaway, like we didn't really pay attention. Meanwhile, he's doing his business in the back, and that's what we really should have focused on. So I liked the match. I liked how everything went down, because I believe it was CM Punk who got, yes, you explained it, with the chair that was first. So it was like, oh, okay, we understand. Because remember when there was a scene, I forgot which, was it SmackDown or Raw, where Paul Heyman was talking to Roman Reigns, and he kind of like, had his arm around his shirt. Is this himself? No, he was talking to CM Punk. And Roman Reigns just kind of looked at them like, oh my gosh. And it was such hurt in his eyes to see him canoodle. It was like an ex moving on with their lives. And, and you felt that pain. And then CM Punk was like, haha. So I just loved kind of the emotional battle that they had with each other. They made it really personal because of Paul Heyman. But I really wish that, and they kind of explain, he screwed them both, but they still love him. They still need him. So I like that part. And I like the entire match itself. And even though I feel like the answer was staring us right in the face, it was still really great to see Paul Heyman choose Seth Rollins. And then, of course, with Monday night, it kind of continued to make sense. Because it's like, what does he get from this? And then when we saw Monday, it all starting to make sense now. It's part of the master plan. And remember, it's always Paul Heyman who has the great ideas and the great plans. And now this is his own, as you stated, this could be his own plan that he executes. Now he is his own person. So, boop, boop, boop. You are smart. And just really quickly, I just wanted to say, CM Punk's intro package, when they showed him as when he first came in.
Yeah, that was cool.
When he was, what's it, like Ring of Honor? Did they use Ring of Honor? No. Can you legally?
Yeah.
You can't legally use Ring of Honor. Isn't that AEW?
That's AEW, I guess. So maybe it wasn't then.
So, but they had indie stuff. I'm pretty sure you could use, like, whatever they used was like indie stuff. This was like before he got into WWE, and then like the beginning at WWE. So I loved how they had
Chick Magnet Punk.
Chick Magnet Punk, and he was doing. Why don't we do this anymore? Bring back this.
Yeah, right.
I have a hilarious story of there was a meeting in the office, and Vince didn't know what this was, and it had to be explained to him, and then they made it into T-shirts.
Jeez.
This used to be a T-shirt, so Vince didn't know because he does not watch the indies, allegedly. But so I thought that whole entire intro was just really beautiful, and it was also like, oh my God, how old is everyone now? So, but he aged well. He aged really well. He looks like he looks like he could be his own father.
Yeah. He's just grayed. He's grayed quite a bit, but he still looks the same.
It works. Kind of sad there was no AJ Lee.
At least in the crowd, like she didn't even like. I mean, I'm sure she's still supporting him. Maybe she was backstage. Maybe she was just watching TV. But like, it would have been nice to see her in the crowd, like supporting him. Everybody wants to see her. And it really
threw me. She got her abs back. There was a photo. She has her abs back.
Oh yeah,
and CM Punk always said, when she gets really fit, that means she's training for something, because he likes her thick and a little chunky with some meat, and she had no meat. So I was like, oh, she's coming back.
No,
Evolution 2.0.
She did the same thing, because I follow her. I'm pretty sure it's on Instagram, and she did the same thing when she had posted herself fit and she had the abs and everything, and this was literally just before she started filming season 2 of Heels. So maybe she's just prepping for another role again.
Yay. And also, I would like for her to write. Can she please write some more books, some more screenplays? I know her and her friend, they look like identical twins. Can they please Give me
Yeah,
some more material.
it's hilarious because I have like everybody knows this, but I have a crush on AJ Lee, but I also have a crush on Amy Garcia, which is her best friend. And
Which one?
they both have I think they did Dungeons and Dragons books together, like adventure books, but they also did a comic book as well. So
And they
they
did a
should do a
movie
lot
on
more
Netflix,
writing. Oh yeah, Amy Garcia did a Netflix movie. Yeah.
which they don't promote because Netflix sucks ball hickeys, but
Yeah.
they did that too. So hopefully it's for something that's wonderful because I want to see more of her. And
Yeah.
I do miss her in the ring. And there is Evolution 2.0 around the corner. I hope. It's not been like, announced, but
So she could be the
gotta
legend.
be something. I want her to, yeah. And then also induct her. I don't care. Just induct.
Yeah.
Induct her in the Chuck.
You think maybe,
So
I know this is a bit off topic, but you think maybe like just the WWE left a bitter taste in her mouth after everything that went down with her? Because she talked a little bit about it. She used to get like, harassed. She didn't like the way they treated the women in, the matches and the way they pushed women and stuff like that. And then on top of that, the way they treated CM Punk for that matter.
but the person who's responsible and really allowed for
Yeah,
that to
he's
happen is
gone.
no longer here.
But there are
So then
still
I'm
also
wondering,
some toxic people in that company that she would still have to deal with, i.e., Triple H or Nick Khan. Those people are still
wait,
there.
Nick, how was Nick? Well, Nick has his own problem. Wait, Nick is not toxic, ish.
I mean,
Maybe.
I'm sure he had involvement with lots of things that happen in in the business. Still, he's still a high ranking official there.
Nick Khan just only recently kind of like joined the board situation after Vince left.
Nick Khan, no, he had involvement with lots of things for years. I don't know if he was around during the AJ Lee era. Now that I
I
think
don't
about
think
it, but
so.
he's still been there way longer. He's been there way longer than when Vince stepped down.
I don't really.
But regardless of just Nick Khan specifically, just like you think maybe that's why she's hesitant about going back, or maybe she's just over wrestling.
I don't think. Well, I think maybe it could be her being over wrestling, maybe. But I don't think it's unless it's a culmination of everything.
Like I honestly, if I were her, I'd be bitter too about the way they treated my
See, he
husband.
joined in 2020, so it's like
2020,
years.
5 years. Yeah, so like I'd be bitter too with the way they treated my husband on top of like me myself. Like that's the way I would look at it. Like
but
you
if the
fired
husband
my
himself,
husband on his wedding day, on top
then
of
the
everything
husband's
else
back
that
with the
happened.
company.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that you should change your opinion on it. Like you could still hold ill will towards a person and still be civil with people. Like if me and my wife, I knew there was somebody that wronged her, I would still kind of hate the guy, but I would still have to like, if I had still had to be around the guy for some reason, I would be civil about it.
No,
Professional
because
about
if
it.
your wife hates somebody, you automatically will hate them too. And
Yes,
once your
that's what I'm
wife says
saying.
we no longer hate him, but once your wife says I no longer hate him, guess what? You no longer hate him.
Nope.
You
That's
fuck
not the
what
way it
your wife
works.
does. That's the way it's supposed to work.
That's still being an adult about it though, because you can have an opinion. You can have an opinion about a person that could differ from your partner, but it doesn't mean you have to act on it. So I could hate the guy. It doesn't mean I need to punch the guy in the face.
Well, a little punch doesn't help her.
No, it's unprofessional. It's unprofessional, especially like, can you imagine? Like this is back to AJ and CM Punk. Can you imagine if AJ Lee, let's say she held some ill will towards the company, and she would say some bullshit about the company, or slander them, let's say, or reveal some stuff that actually happened, and she's claiming something or whatever, that would hurt CM Punk. Realistically, it shouldn't have happened this way, but that would still hurt CM Punk. So she still has to play up still has to be an adult and be a professional about it and still be civil.
Corey Graves is still employed. Who's going on I hate WWE. They fired me because I got pregnant rant on every national television
Look where
show.
he's at now.
But he's still with the company.
He's being punished, though. He is very clearly being punished.
We'll see. We will see. I don't know. They never punished a Renee. And he went and did that.
She left. She eventually left. It was maybe after about a year or two. She did not hesitate to leave
because she wanted her own thing. Okay, fine then. Maybe terrible example, but I still feel something. I think it's. I mean, I don't know. I'm not as harsh on it as you are, but we will see. All right, so the next kind of ends night one, which you overall grade of night one would be
out of a 10. If we're, I can't remember what we were doing before. Out of a 10, I would probably say a 7, and that 7 would be mostly because of the last match.
That's a good thing. A 7 is not bad at all. I would have to give it an 8. I thought an 8 was all right. There was only I really didn't care for the New Day. El Grande was like a nice thing for them to do for him, but it wasn't like, oh, I have to watch this match. Tiffany Stratton, I think that's what kind of like,
I'm sorry. Out of the whole kayfabe stuff we're doing, I honestly feel bad for Chad Gable because Chad Gable could not be Chad Gable at WrestleMania. He had to be something else to be at WrestleMania. Like he had to have it's a comedy gimmick. We have to admit that. This is a comedy gimmick where he's having fun with it. Sure. If he's having fun with it and he loves it, that's fine. But I feel bad that Chad Gable is such a talented wrestler and he deserves a push and recognition. And yet it took for him to play some parody character in order to actually be recognized in WrestleMania. And I think that's fucked up.
Okay. All right. I get it. I really do. But it was still fun. And now he gets to go to MLW, which we'll discuss also later.
Okay, yeah.
They announced the purchase of, was it AAA?
AAA.
AAA, I meant. Yeah. He gets to go to AAA and, be their luchador. As that'll definitely offend some more people there. But yeah, so then that concludes night uno of WrestleMania